Reverend Johnnie Moore is the executive chairman of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and he joins me now for more. Johnnie, great to have you on the broadcast. So what is the main mission of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation?
George, it's really simple. Feed Gazans. That's the mission. That's all we're there to do, and our goal is to do it efficiently, to do it safely, to help as many people as we possibly can.
On Friday, it's been reported you shut down your sites until further notice. Why?
It wasn't a shutdown until further notice. It was a shutdown to evaluate some of the infrastructure outside of the actual distribution sites. You know, this is an active war zone, and we can't fully control what happens outside of the actual distribution sites. But what we can do is, as we learn things along the way, you can take careful pauses. You can reevaluate how you're doing certain things. You can communicate with other stakeholders in order to make some adjustments. And so I would actually call it a routine pause in order to make some reasonable changes. This is it's hard to believe it, George, but this has been up and running for about 10 days. Nearly we're going to push 10 million meals in that short period of time. It's been incredible what we've already been able to do, but it's also happening in one of the most complex humanitarian crises of our time, in an active war zone, in a very, very small piece of land.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you guys have delivered close to about 10 million meals since May 26th. I'm curious, what makes your model so effective?
I mean, the power of this model, aside from the fact it's a private initiative, is that it keeps the aid from being stolen, being used for coercive purposes. I mean, even right now, as we're speaking, there is still some aid that's coming in from the United Nations, but the truck drivers for the United Nations are on strike. And why are they on strike? They're on strike because they've been threatened by militant, terrorist actors when they were moving the trucks in. And so for too many years, it's like the aid community felt like they had to in effect concede some of that. It was the cost of doing business. It was a decision that was made. We're going to feed people, but in feeding people, some of the aid is going to be stolen and then sold back to the people. The aid's going to be used for coercive or other purposes. And our model says that that's a false choice. You don't have to choose between the two. We have delivered now millions of meals to hungry Gazans without a single incident of violence within the domains of our distribution centers, without the aid being stolen. And in fact, in the rudimentary sort of markets in Gaza, we've actually seen the cost of things like sugar go down because it's no longer being stolen and sold.
Having reported from Gaza on the first war between Israel and Hamas, I'm curious, how do you guys prevent these meals from falling into the hands of these Islamic groups like Hamas?
I mean, it's an incredible operation on the ground. I mean, this is an American charity with American contractors with an amazing amounts of experience. I mean, some people we should be very, very proud of. And the technical operation is actually, going amazingly well. So you can create, outside, working with various actors to sort of create secure corridors to get to the distribution center. But, the way the distribution of aid is being handled in a very, very efficient way. And the goal is to make sure people get what they need, they can get out of there and come back the next day.
What kind of reaction have you had from the people of Gaza receiving this aid?
I mean, as an American, one of the things that's just so encouraging to me is Gazans spontaneously saying, "Thank you, America. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you to the United States." They understand that this aid is coming from in effect, the American people. Okay, it's coming from us. It's an incredible thing to. And by the way, it's a brave thing for these Gazans to do, to say thank you, America, because the truth of the matter is, for a long time, the first victims of terrorists in that strip of land have been the Gazans themselves, these Palestinians. And so it's been incredibly heartening to hear all the things.
What threat does GHF represent to Hamas?
Look, I mean, there is a global disinformation campaign that, frankly, has been quite successful. You know, in every war, you know, there's both a tactical war, but there's also an information war, and a lot of people, for whatever reason, that profess to care for these people, don't want our operation to succeed. And I have lost track of the amount of lies that have been proliferated across the internet, and unfortunately, in certain circumstances, like major media outlets have just parroted those lies, so much so that even the BBC and the Washington Post, under a ton of pressure, but you know, for their own credibility, had to issue corrections, you know, in the last 72 hours.
Johnnie, great to have you on the broadcast, and good luck on this mission.
Thanks for having me, George.
You're welcome.